The important issue is obviously food safety and having good, healthy food that doesn't make people either acutely ill or have some relationship to chronic diseases. For us, for our farm, it's not so much a specific regulation as the fact that the regulations that exist are not written with direct farm marketing in mind. So there's a certain degree of uncertainty, and of course we businesses just hate uncertainty. A good example is the definition of food processing, which includes everything from doing things that obviously are potentially hazardous, such as preserving in jars non-acidic food, to drying or packaging. Garlic on, we tie the stems together and just hang them over. They're totally in the shade, and yet the breeze comes through this way. It's a perfect situation, and I give credit to actually Brendan and Adam came up with this system. Obviously, this process that is what you do with garlic is not going to contribute to food safety, but is potentially subject to regulation. We have some dried beans that we shelled out by hand, and we put these in little packages and sell them. They're dried favas. So letting them dry, shelling them out, and putting them in packages are all, quote, processing, unquote. They're clearly not going to be hazardous. This is another way we sell them, and this is, of course, not subject to regulation. This is the product this is what we're interested in doing with products like this. It was produced by Sassafras Catering for us as a sample of the kind of work they do. And we hope over the course of the summer to be providing them with lots and lots of good vegetables of various kinds, everything from watermelons that they'll use the rind for pickled watermelon rind to beets and beans and cucumbers and peppers and greens. And they will process them and put them into jars, and we give some of them back to us and we'll sell them at the market. Last summer, the Department of Agriculture decided that they wanted to inspect farmers markets. They were feeling, there had been, some very high-profile food recalls, and they were feeling nervous about the fact that here all this food was being sold outdoors and with no inspection or regulation, and what are the hazards and what are the dangers. So they did it with a really pretty heavy hand. Mm-hmm. And then they came around during markets and, asked a bunch of questions. And, usually that's not, it's not particularly burdensome. But if someone's asking me questions while a market is going on, I'm not selling to customers. And our booth is usually staffed by 2 people, and we can have, 4 or 5 customers lined up at any time. Well, that's really not horrible, but it's annoying. And a lot of people got annoyed. And particularly because it wasn't clear to what end all this information was going to be used, whether it was even going to be put into some kind of online database so it would be acceptable to people. So I had hosted 2 meetings so far to kind of look at laying out some potential legislation that would help the Department of Agriculture by clarifying that it's not their responsibility to regulate farmers markets, that farmers markets are not food establishments. They're basically an extension of farm stands, and that's something that the Department of Agriculture staff really said would be helpful to them because they were operating in an legally undefined area. And then we started to generate a list of farm-based non-hazardous products that should also be exempt from regulation. And at the last meeting I attended, there was a great deal of agreement and comfort between the farm representatives there and the Oregon Department of Agriculture staff people on what should be on that list. Basically, there was one kind of product that they thought needed further definition and perhaps further regulation, and that's what they call acidified processed food, in other words, pickles, which surprised us because what's the name of all these bills in all these other states? Are pickle bills. Everything that we sell, we eat. So if there's something that's going to make somebody sick, we're the ones that are going to get sick first. I don't believe that anybody at this farm has ever gotten sick from eating anything fresh that we produced here. And you know, I'm sure you can't say that for the peanuts that caused such an uproar a couple of years ago. I bet the executives of that company, if they knew anything about it, would not even touch their peanut butter or salted peanuts. The other thing is that if there were a hazard, there's such a short chain of custody and easy traceability that the hazard could be quickly identified and contained and stopped. And that's what's really clear about the industrial food system and people in every state of the country getting sick from eating packaged spinach. I think we're making progress, and we're going to have some good regulation and or good legislation. And if it is in the form that that it looks like it's heading toward, then everything we want to do here at Gales Meadow Farm will be perfectly, it'll be clear that it's both safe and legal. So we're hoping for that.